Good morning. Jeff Gibby here over at MetaStock. Thanks for coming to the session today. I hope you're having a great summer. Remember, there's only a finite amount of summers in your life. Enjoy it. Today we have a very special demo. I'm going to be talking about the MetaStock XENITH program, kind of walking you through how that works, and it'll be a pretty good demo. So hopefully, if I do my job properly. In any case, thanks for coming. I hope you're doing well. And if you have questions as we go, let me know. I'm watching for them right here. I did do a little bit of a pre-poll. It looks like a good portion of you have MetaStock XENITH already. I want to thank you for that. And let's just talk a little bit about what XENITH is. And I only have a few slides today. Mostly I'm going to go in here and just show you the parts of XENITH that I like, really. So it is powered by Refinitiv. If you're not familiar with Refinitiv, basically they used to be Thomson Reuters. They're going through a rebranding right now. But basically, it's the product I'm going to show you today, they basically spent over $1 billion developing. They're well into, they keep reiterating it. They keep adding things to it. It's a huge platform. And just to kind of give you an idea of how big it is, 70,000 globally listed companies, 40 million of items of research available, 2,600 full-time journalists across 200 different news bureaus. They really built this from the ground up to be a competitive product to Bloomberg, basically. It's a great product. The real challenge I had, and it covers just about anything, if you're interested in agriculture, commodities, emerging markets, anything that you want to trade, with very, very few exceptions, you're going to be able to get real good information and real good news out here. So, in fact, one of the challenges that I had when I was kind of getting ready for the demo is, what am I exactly going to show? There's so many different things I could probably spend all day here. So I kind of thought about it for a minute, and what I decided to do is, I decided to show you the parts of the program that I like and use on a regular basis. So we're going to dive straight back down into the platform. I put together basically a page of things that I want to show you in the software program, and I think it'll take about an hour. That was kind of the idea. We'll see how it goes. So in any case, one of the things about the XENITH program that I'm going to talk about first initially is when you install it, it's basically going to ask you who you are, what you're trading, what your geographical focus is in, what type of instruments you're interested in, whether equities or Forex. And what it does is it tries to basically optimize the experience for what you're actually interested in. Now, when I went in and I did the initial setup process many, many years ago, I told him I was interested in equities, I was interested in trading options, and I had a U.S. focus. So a lot of what you'll see on kind of the main page here is going to be basically what you would see if you selected the same options, okay? And I'm going to kind of really start, and I'm just going to kind of show you some of the tools that I use on a very regular basis. So let's dive into it right here. Okay. The first thing I want to talk a little bit about is the top bar here. So if you're looking for different things, you can click on this little orange button. There's all kinds of apps that you can kind of add to workspaces. We'll go into some of these as we get a little bit on. Right here, you've got a little bit of a search bar. And the thing that I want to talk about right now is kind of the way that you can kind of organize your workflow, so to speak. So right here, we've got some tabs open. We're going to go through these tabs, time permitting today. But these tabs, for right now, for the purpose of this demo, just cover this screen. Okay, but they could cover all of my screens if I wanted them to. And the thing I really like about it is you can have all these tabs open. And if right now what I want to do and where we're going to start is going to be on what Reuters calls, Refinitiv. See, I'm getting used to the name change too. What Refinitiv calls the home page. But if I click on equities here, you'll notice my whole screen changes so that I'm looking at the equities market. And not just this screen would change. I could actually change every screen that I'm looking at. So now my focus is on equities. Whereas I can click on FX spots monitoring, another page that I've made and loaded up here, and I could be looking at all FX stuff. And I've really liked the way they've designed this because it allows you to stay really, really focused. I know I want to go in and start talking about the home page now. If I click on home, Again, everything that I've assigned to this homepage is going to be available as part of it. Now, this is the default view that you're going to get when you look into Reuters. I do want to, before I kind of start talking about the different elements on the page that I like, talk a little bit about the search and functionality. And this is something that Refinitiv spent a lot of time and money on. Obviously, when you have the amount of research that's available, more than 4 million items, one of the tricky parts of that is trying to figure out what to show people, and that's why they want to know what you're trading and what you're interested in and that kind of stuff. But one of the things that they spent a lot of time is on search and what they call search and nav. So, and just to kind of show you an example of that, I'm going to type in a little bit of a stock up here. You can type just about anything you want in the search button, but let's say we just saw a story on Facebook. Actually, there's a story on Facebook right here. And we want to, let's say we kind of wanted to get an overview of the company. I can just kind of click on FB here, or I can actually start to type out Facebook. And what you'll see is we'll have right up here, you can kind of go in and you can see the business info, the overview, the quote, the financial chart or a chart. And I'm just going to go to the, and you'll notice anything else under Facebook right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the overview page, and I just want to show you what that looks like briefly. So we'll go ahead and let this page load in. It does take a couple of seconds sometimes, and I'll give you an idea of what that looks like. And there is a lot of information that it's loading right now, so we'll give it a second.
Jeff, while you're waiting,
Yeah.
I don't think you did the disclosure at the beginning of your presentation. Do you happen to have that slide handy that you could?
I don't. Greg would like me to read the legal disclaimer. By Greg, I mean our control room.
Yes, the control room.
Let's see how we do. I did actually, he did bring up a good point that I forgot to read the legal disclaimer. So let's try this. You'll notice that it's already loaded. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. Investors who are trading with MetaStock products should be aware of the risks inherent in trading market instruments. MetaStock accepts no liability for any investment decisions or any information provided in connection with the company. How was that, Greg?
That was fabulous. That was amazing.
I did get a couple words wrong, but I got the gist of it right there. And that, my friends, is what you get by reading a legal disclaimer probably like thousands of times by now. So, in any case, so the Facebook page did load. It did give us enough time to kind of read that in too. Right now, what you're going to be able to see is just a wealth of information on Facebook. Okay, so right here, any news that's coming up, you'll be able to see. You'll be able to see any events that are coming up. Apparently, there's another earnings release and an earnings call at 1500 today, being the 24th. You'll be able to see any recent developments, any new deals that they've done. Over in this column, you'll be able to see what the price looks like, where it's sitting in terms of its trend. You'll be able to see all of the recommendations. Right now we see that the mean, we've got about 15 analysts on a strong buy, 27 on a buy, 6 on a hold, 1 on a sell. And you can kind of see that graphed out over here as well. Okay, you can see what the relative valuations are. In addition, you'll be able to go in and see what the estimates look like. They do offer the star mine models. If you're not familiar with the star mine models, the star mine models are, I had Google tell me yesterday they did a pretty good job of it. It's basically a patented methodology that Reuters use that they call quantitative analysis that looks at earnings, that looks at kind of where the price is, what the trend looks like, and it gives you a value for the score. That value seems to go from 0 to 100. So you see right here the analyst revisions are the price momentum's at 80. You've got analyst revisions sitting at 91. So generally there's a pretty bullish, I'm not going to read through all of these, but generally there's a fairly bullish outlook. Okay, you can also see what the pairs look like. And again, we got to here just by searching for it, but anytime you want to actually go in and kind of look at information on a specific company, you just can go to the overview page straight from searching for it. And we're really looking at the types of the iceberg. I haven't really even talked about like the news tab or the price and charts tab or the estimates or the financials or the ESG or the events. And you'll see there's quite a bit of categories under all of these. The information that's available in this thing is incredible. And it's a lot of the same information that Refinitiv provides to its brokers and institutions, and I can see why it's such a well-valued product as well. Anyway, I'm going to get off of this summary page. I just kind of one of the things, again, when I put together this thing, I mean, it's really, you kind of have to pick a few things to show. Like this thing will show you anything from how a stock is trending on Twitter and Facebook to like deep dives of how economics look, to like you can even pull up a map that I actually really like. I'm not going to show it today, but it shows a map of the entire world and gives you an idea of what markets are going up in terms of a heat map. It's really cool. In any case, I'm going to show you these things though. So let's kind of get back to a little bit of the homepage. Again, my goal, I know a lot of you use MetaStock. A lot of you have access to XENITH already. 56% of, according to our polling here today, actually has XENITH. I want to show you some of the things I use day in and day out. Okay, so this is the homepage. This will be the first page that you're looking at. And one of the things that you'll notice in here is everything that you click over is actually a hyperlink. Okay, so if I click right here on Dow Industrial Average, it's going to actually pull up all of the constituents of, well, I'll just do it. It's going to pull up all of the constituents of the Dow. It's going to give you the overview. It's going to give you the news. It's going to show you which stocks are moving up, which sectors are moving up, which stocks are moving down. Again, the amount of information in here is just insane. And I love the way it's organized because everything kind of is put together in such a way that it's findable. Anyway, back to the home page. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about some of the functions that I use on a regular basis. So again, I'm an equities trader. So the main section that it's going to look at it for me is this equities. You see it right here, equities. Okay. In addition to that, it's going to give us some of the more important news stories of the day. Facebook is going to pay a record $5 billion to the U.S. For privacy violations. And if I wanted to click on that, I can click on it. It'll pull up the story. I'm going to go back immediately because it just gives you the story. You can read it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Any of the top news stories of the day are going to be listed there. If I actually click on equities up here, it's going to load all of the important stories of the day. So these are just the most important. If I want to see what equity stories are going on, what's going on in the equity markets, I can click on that. Okay. Here we have some equity quick links. Okay, I'm going to play with quite a few of these. Well, by quite a few, I mean 3. And kind of show you how those work. Right here, you've got the front page. The front page is quite cool. I'm going to come back to that. I've got some FX money markets. I've got commodities. I've got Greater China. And I've got breaking views. Okay. If you're not interested, let's say I'm not interested in Greater China for a good example, what I could do is I could actually kind of adjust this, even though it's been kind of put together for me by Reuters. If I just click on the gear icon right here, I can actually change this to national and regional news. I could go to specific language news. I could save it as a bit of a different one. So just for the point of showing you something, I'm going to go to industry news. I'm going to put it under technology and save that. And now I'm looking at technology news right here. Okay. Over here, you'll notice there's different asset classes. So if it's not listed here and you want to go for the front page of foreign exchange, you can. It's going to show you all the foreign exchange news, commodities, markets. You kind of get the idea, hopefully. Okay. Right here is some quick links to some of the tools that I use on a very, very regular basis. You've got time and sales. That just shows you kind of where buying pressure is coming in. You've got your company overview. I showed you that with Apple. And so I'm going to go straight to the economic monitor. And what I'm going to do, I did prepare just a little, well, I prepared for today. But what I wanted to do is instead of waiting for it to load, I actually have that economic monitor. I can load it by clicking right here. I can also I've already got it open, so I'm going to bring it onto the screen right here. Now, the economic monitor has gone through quite a few different iterations. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through exactly how it works. Right now, you'll notice that it's just showing all the economics. There's a little bit of a flag here. Of course, I'm going to filter that down. I'm not interested in whatever this particular item out of Brazil right now. You'll notice in the categories we have events, central banks and political events, holidays, government debt auctions, and central banks. So I'm going to leave it on economic events, but we can search for any type of those events. But what I want to do is I want to kind of more filter this screen so it's something that's a little bit more appropriate to what I'm interested in. And for me personally, that's the US equities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little arrow button over here, and you'll see all of the countries are listed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just clear the countries. And what I'm interested in is just the United States for the purposes of this demo. So I'll go ahead and type in U. You'll notice that it automatically starts to show us all the United. I'm going to come down here to United States, and that's what I'm going to search for. Okay. And if I wanted to update that view now, I can just click on Update That View. You'll notice the time frame that we've got loaded right now is it'll show us everything from yesterday to the next 7 days out. Okay, and there's still going to be quite a bit of stuff on this list. We've got a weekly distribution output. We've got crude runs being reported. We've got refining utilities. We've got crude Cushing. All of these stuff is going to be able to be reported for us. These have actually reported because you can see the actuals. But again, there are ways you can filter this down. Like, so for example, before we had the ability to look at market sensitivity, you could come into event types and just select the ones you wanted and just have it list those. You can still do that. You could come in here and search for different items that you're interested in and just select those. You can still do that. But typically what I do is within the last several years, they've added this market impact rating. And it kind of looks like the cell phone bars on your phone, right? There's either a low impact, which I don't care about low impact. I don't care about medium impact. And if it's not rated, I don't care about it. What I want to see is just the economic events that are going to be important for that might have a tendency to move the market. Okay, so what I'm going to do is filter out all of the ones that do not have a high market impact. I'm going to go ahead and click on Update. It's going to update that list for me, and you'll notice this is actually very, very intuitive. Okay, and so now instead of every single little report that's going to be released, now I'm looking at things that are important, like existing home sales. Came out yesterday, the 23rd of July, 8 a.m. You can see what the Reuters polling number was, the actual number, and whether or not that was a surprise in a number format, what the prior reading, what the revised, the min, the max, and the count. Okay. They also have a smart estimate, which I'll get into in just a second. I can see any of the events that are coming up. Anything that hasn't happened already, new home sales in units just came out. Okay. It actually updated, I think, while I was talking. I think I saw it updated. The next events are going to be 6:30 tomorrow, my time. Okay, and that'll be durable goods and jobless claims and those kind of things. Okay, if it hasn't happened yet, I can click this button and it'll add it to my calendar. Okay, and that way I can kind of remember that it's coming out. If it's something that's upcoming, you'll see a little bit of a countdown timer right here, and that'll tell you just exactly when it's going to come out. Okay. If I want to get a little bit more like new home sales, it's very important to kind of have a measurement of market health, right? If I want to kind of get an idea of how it's performing over time, because it just reported, it came up, it was a little bit of a negative surprise. But if I want to see how that's performing overall, again, like just about anything in XENITH, I can click on it. And what that's going to load is that's going to load the historical data set. So it's going to give me an idea of what it's looked like in the past, what it's going to look like in the future. And we'll just give it a second to load. It's actually loading pretty quickly. It's very bandwidth intensive for us to run these videos. And so we'll just give it a second to load. It's also morning here. I'm going to have a little bit more coffee while it loads up. And if it doesn't load in just a second, maybe we'll abandon it. But what we're going to see is we're going to see what the actuals look like. We're going to see what the smart estimates look like. We're going to look at what the polling data is. And it is up now. Let's go ahead and maximize it. So from the indicator perspective right here, what we've got is we've got the benchmark revisions. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Reuters poll and the smart estimates and let that data load in. With Reuters, and I bet they end up renaming this the Refinitiv poll, but with the Reuters poll, basically what they do is they poll their contributing banks to see what they expect that the reporting will look like. Based on that, they kind of have a bit of an algorithm where they give us an estimate of what their math says it's going to look like. So historically, you can see it's been a little bit flat. We're looking at about 2 years of data. It's been kind of in this range where it's been up and down, but you can kind of see what that looks like over time. And right here, as you see, we've got the high market relevance. So came in a little bit low today, a little bit of a bounce from last quarter, kind of gives us an idea of what we're looking at. Okay, and so that's how the economic monitor, the idea for the economic monitor is, let me skip all the information from the market and all the reports that don't matter. What I want to do is just look at the ones that have a high market impact. Okay, let me go ahead and close that down. We'll go back to the home page, and we'll just kind of continue working through this. Option Watch is very cool. I'm not going to actually show it today, but if you're doing options, it's a great way to go in and look at what all the puts or calls are. You can actually go in and kind of sort them based on kind of how far you want them from the strike price. You can chart them, get a good idea of kind of what's going on in the options. And we're going to go over to this economic indicator chart. And I find this really, really a fascinating thing. Again, I do have this loaded right here. And just to save load times, I kind of loaded it in advance. But what I'm going to do is just kind of show you some of the broad market stuff that's available. So what I'm going to do here again is I'm going to select a country. I'll just come into the United States. If you're a Forex trader, you can go in and compare metrics from different countries. Like we could go in and say, well, I want to see what U.S. unemployment looks like. I want to compare that to European unemployment or British unemployment or whatever country you want. To give you an idea of the breadth of data that we can actually plot here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on the indicators list. Okay, so these are the different indicators we can go. They're just loading in. What we've got is, and I'm just going to kind of go through this list. Right here, you got the 1 to 4 family mortgage organizations and total volume. You've got the AI sentiments, you've got activity, you've got air cargo traffic, you've got all loans, you've got anti-corruption risk, arms exports, all kinds of stuff that you can look for. Again, there's probably hundreds and hundreds of things on this list. I'm just going to scroll through them. Of course, they're going to include the things that you're interested in, like unemployment. And I'm actually interested in looking at something today because I was reading a report yesterday that was talking about how there might be a risk in the auto sector, that auto foreclosures maybe are going up. And so I kind of want to see how that looks on an actual chart. And it's really just related to an article I was reading yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what's available for auto. And if I start to click on here, you'll notice that list of indicators, now we're just looking at stuff that has the words auto in here. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to find a default on here. But maybe not. Maybe not. Let's actually, instead of doing auto, let's look for default. And if I don't find anything real quickly, just to keep the thing moving, I'm sure there's something in here that has to do with credit risk. But if I don't find something really quickly, we'll look for unemployment. So right here we've got non-revolving consumer credit. We've got non-financial issues. We've got motor vehicle loans. Okay, that's what I should have been looking for, is motor vehicle loans. And we can probably find a default. If it's reported, we can find it here of consumer credit on autos. I think what I'll do instead of doing it here, I'm just going to go look for unemployment. I'm going to look at this later. Actually, I should separate. But you notice that list was huge. We would have been able to find something. What I want to be able to do is just show you something and kind of give you an idea of how that works. So if I wanted to kind of look and see what unemployment looks like over time, I'm just going to search in the word unemployment. I'm going to come down here, and you'll notice even there, we've got a bunch of different stuff that we can look at. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at an unemployment rate, standardize, and I'm going to look at the actual absolute value. I'm going to add that as an indicator here. It's going to go ahead and load it, and it'll plot it as a histogram here. So I can kind of take a look at this, and if I was trying to make an assessment about the economy in general, looking at employment, I'd say that we're doing pretty good. We had a huge peak. Obviously, this is going to be the 2009 incident. I was trying to look for a word for that. Incident seems like a little bit of word we could use, I guess. And it's been going down. It had a bit of an uptick in the last quarter. Okay. If I wanted to add other indicators to this, I can. Just the amount of information that we have at our fingertips it's insane. I'm going to go ahead and close this out, and we'll get back to the front page, or to the home page. Okay, and there's a few things that I want to show you. I'm just taking a look at the time to see how we're doing on time. We're doing pretty good. I'm going to be able to show you most of the things I want to do today. But we're back here on the home page, and one of the things I wanted to show you is a few things on the front page. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on the front page right here. It's going to load into a front page. Okay, and this the way I explain this is like maybe the front page of the newspaper. So it's going to show you just the most important things that are going on. It obviously shows you a lot more stuff than the front page of a newspaper. But again, any of these stories that we see, if there's something that we like, we can click into it and we could kind of go in and see what the full news story is. Okay. In addition to that, you'll have some pretty cool stuff that's done. There's a Brexit package that they keep relatively up to date that kind of talks about the impact of Brexit. The stuff that's trending up here is pretty good. And you see just a latest news ticker here. Okay. You can see what's most read. And over here, you're going to see any special reports. And these are actually well-written articles. Once in a while, I'll come in here and read them. Up at the top here, I meant to actually talk a little bit about this. But there is a complete video channel that's available that includes information and videos that are put together by Reuters. Refinitiv, in addition to CNBC, in partnership with them. And we can come in here, and there's actually all kinds of videos we can actually look at. One of the things that they've started to do is they've started to do their day ahead. So if you're over in the UK, the last one, there's a UK day ahead here. You can watch the UK day ahead, but it's just a bit of a video content. And a lot of people are looking and they're paying several $100s a month for just a squawk. This video actually feature right here and the real-time video actually provides some really good information about what to be watching for in the market today. Here we've got the analysis and insight. Reuters is great about that. Their special reports. Here's an article. I read this yesterday, how judges added to the grim toll of the opiate addiction problem here in the U.S. One of the other things that I like to talk about is the newsletters. And you'll see the newsletter right here. There's a couple that are released that are very important for equity traders here in the U.S., and that would be the day ahead and the morning news call. So the day ahead, it comes out every night, and basically it kind of is a market recap. It tells you about everything that happened in the market that day and to watch for tomorrow. The morning news call is an abbreviated version of that. Basically, it tells you, okay, here's what's going on today. Here's what you need to look at. And just to give you an idea, I'm going to go ahead and click into this. I'm going to hope that it loads fast, but to kind of give you an idea of kind of the analysis and insight that goes into this, it's pretty intensive. So this is the day ahead for today. Okay, it came out last night. It gives us a bit of a recap of what happened yesterday. Tells us that Facebook is going to do earnings. Boeing Company is scheduled to report lower second quarter profit and revenue hurt by the grounding of its MAX aircraft. Tesla is going to have a list of those key economic events that we were looking at earlier. And we can scroll through this. I'm going to stop reading it out loud because you guys can read. But this is one of the reports, and if you're an equity trader, you should be kind of looking at what's happening in the market. It does a really good job of actually putting that together. And they put some of their better insight and analysis columns in here as well. There's a little bit of a section for Canada in here. And so this is one of the newsletters, but it's not, even these newsletters don't kind of give justice to the amount of newsletters that you can subscribe to. So if you have a subscription to XENITH, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, you can actually sign up. You can have these emailed to you to your inbox every day. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and type in newsletter here in the search box. And I'll just show you real quickly the reports that are available. I think I actually hit the button to make that go. Let's try it again. If you're interested in like crude, for example, if you're interested in Forex, if you're interested in really anything, there's generally market-sensitive, market-centered newsletters. So you just come into this newsletter app, which is taking, I will agree, a little bit longer than I'd like to load. but it gives you a list of all the newsletters. You can subscribe to them. They deliver them to your email box. Some of them are done daily. Some of them are done weekly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to go ahead and pause. Do you have any questions from the YouTube audience?
Currently, no.
Okay.
However, you might also mention that the load times could be affected by the fact that we're also broadcasting live video out on the same network.
I did that, but I'll reiterate that. The load times, obviously, like when we start broadcasting my mug, my face, as well as video and requesting things and that kind of stuff, obviously that's bandwidth intensive, and so it'll run faster for you, but you'll have less of a load time as well. And then I'm going to also check GoToWebinar real quick to see if there's any questions. I realize I've been derelict on my duties for looking at questions, and we do have some. Vincenzo, thanks for coming. He says the audio is okay and the video is okay. So good job, control room. Vincenzo also said that it's roasting here in Italy. Yeah, I hear Europe's had a very hot summer. So Biswat says he's unable to hear. If that's an issue that's still happening, well, it's working fine. Okay. I was going to say, if you have issues hearing me, please let me know still, and then you'd never hear that anyway. So just to kind of, the newsletter app did load, and you'll see all of these newsletters. If they say subscribe here, you can just subscribe to them. You put in your email address. They send them to you every morning. You don't even have to go looking for them. And they cover everything from earnings scorecards. You've got equities, you've got fixed income, you've got commodities, you've got agriculture if you're interested in commodities. Again, it's just a ton of information that's available. And you may be saying to me, well, yeah, this looks like a lot of really good information, but how do I keep track of this? Let's say I have an open position in Apple or Dow, and I just want to see if there's news coming out on Dow or Apple. And that's a really good question, because in addition to all of the research stuff, and we've focused on the research stuff so far, obviously we're going to want to be able to get real-time news from the Refinitiv services. We're going to want to be able to get real-time information. And we're going to kind of migrate into now from looking at kind of a bigger picture, global economic picture. Major news stories and all that stuff is very interesting to me. But I have these stocks. I'm interested in looking at how they're performing today. I want to see what news actually happens on them today and how can I stay aware of that. So I've preloaded some of the built-in templates. I'm going to show you exactly how I did that, but I did that just so we could have them running and ready to load. There are a number of different templates that are built into MetaStock XENITH, and to get to them, I want to show you how to get to them. I'm gonna basically come in here. There's a little bit of what my marketing guy Greg here in the room likes to call the hamburger menu. I'm sure that's the technical term for it, but we can come here and we can click on templates. Okay, and you'll notice that we have templates that are built around agriculture and commodities and energy and metals and options. There's Forex, foreign exchange instruments that are available. There's fixed income that's available. You got the equities. The one I'm going to show you is this Equities Americas. These are all pre-built for you, and plus you can put together your own. Depending on kind of the time that we have, I might show you how to kind of build one. It's not actually that difficult. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and click on equities. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about what's included here. Okay? And so I've loaded up the built-in equities template. By default, that's going to load in the S&P. It's going to load in the Dow Industrial Average. It's also going to load in, I think, for Canada and Mexico here. Okay? A couple of the things, and you can just switch between these lists just by clicking on the one that you wanted to look at. Okay, right here what we're going to have is we're going to have an updating quote list that's real time if we have the exchange fees, or delayed 15 minutes if we don't have the exchange fees. I don't have the exchange fees on this account, so everything that you're looking at is delayed by about 15 minutes. Okay, and you'll be able to kind of see right here the way I've got the way this is set up by default. You've got the RIC, which is a fancy name for the symbol. You've got the name of the security, whether it's up or down, the last, the net price, percent, bid, ask, open, hope. That goes with volume. Okay. One of the things I want to point out is if I click on this little plus column, there's actually about 800 different fields I can add. So if I wanted to be able to look at earnings or the latest earnings, I could have that as a field that would update in a real-time basis. If I wanted to look at what the shares outstanding or the available float was or anything like that, again, I can add that to my the things that I'm looking at on a regular basis. And right here, I just loaded in the list. You can see there's tons and tons and tons of different things that we can look at. Ratios. I can actually load the StarMine model analytics into here. I can look at the Reuters fundamentals. I can look at real-time data. In other words, if there's an information that you want to be able to rank on in a list or filter on in a list, you can do it absolutely right here. And I think if I have a time, I'll actually go in and show you how to do an advanced search in XENITH if we have time at the end. It's not hard, actually. So right here we've got a list of all the Dow industrial stocks. This is a list that I can just expand and contract. I can sort it based on kind of the percent change today if I want to. Unless you just click at the top of the column headers. Okay, I can add my own columns. I can actually right-click on here and set alerts if I want to. If it penetrates in a certain price, and I want it to let me know if Dow goes over 2,800 today, I can set an alert and it can email me. And to do that, just right-click on here, go to Set Alert. Okay, and I say, okay, I want to do an alert on Dow. If the price of it is greater than, very, very easy. Create the alert. You can do a toast. You can do a bit of a pop-up message. You can have it send you an email, and you can have it play a sound. Okay, very easy to do. Okay. One of the other things that you'll notice, because I'm going to point it out right now, is we've got a bit of a paperclip right here. We've got a paperclip here. We've got a paperclip here, and these are all highlighted blue. So what that means, just by the fact that they're highlighted blue, is if right now I'm looking at a chart down here of Dow, I'm looking at the news of Dow, I'm looking at the volume weighted average, or actually no, we're looking at volume at price of Dow. If I wanted to look at that for Disney, I just click on, or I actually clicked on American Express. If I wanted to look at American Express, I just click on that. Now I'm looking at the news for all of American Express. I'm looking at the price chart of American Express. I'm looking at our time and sales for American Express. So very, very quickly I can switch focus and go between different securities. Okay. Over here we've got, this is what we call our time and sales app. Again, there's dozens of apps that are available in here that you can use. These are just the ones that I've decided to highlight today. But in our time and sales, you can look at kind of where the trades are lining up. I can click on volume at price. It'll show me how much volume came in at, in this case, 213.90. I can view that on volume at price chart where I can see exactly where people are buying and selling. I can look at a volume weighted average price for the security. And I can also look at the money flow, whether money is flowing into or out of the security, overlaid with, of course, the price go. Okay. Down here, you do have a charting. This isn't a charting application that would rival like MetaStock, but it's nice to have it in here. You can go in there and you can put analysis on a chart. You can look at candlesticks. You can add indicators. It's a fairly bare bones. One of the things that I really like about it is you can draw a trend line on a chart. And you can set an alert, so if the stock goes above that trend line, it'll actually alert you, again, with either the pop-up message, play a sound, or send you an email. I'm going to go ahead and minimize that out. I use most of my charting in MetaStock. And over here, again, you're going to have a real-time updating news source. And since this is tied to that list, right now it's just showing us the news for Home Depot. You'll notice there's been quite a few Reuters Insider videos that we could go watch that actually reference Home Depot. And again, just like anything else that's available in XENITH, if I click on one of these stories, it's going to open up to the full news story. I can then read the whole news story. It's also going to give me a list of related, possibly related stories here at the bottom. Okay. Once I'm done with that, I go ahead and pop it down. Okay. I'm going to show you FX spot monitoring. This is another template, again, that's pre-built. It's made for you. If I click on it, it's going to give you an idea of, I kind of like the way that this view is set up, but it's going to give you all the major pairs. I like the way it's also organized. It'll give you all the major pairs, Euro, US dollar, British pound, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Breaks up the Asia pairs. You've got the Central Eastern European. You've got Middle East and Africa, Scandinavia, Latin America. You've got a little bit of a chart up here. you've got any news that's important, and it also either shows you what the world markets are doing down here or what the world interest rates are doing. By clicking on this little tab here, it'll load in what the major interest rates are. Okay? And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. You can, of course, customize this to your heart's content. If we wanted to build a new sheet, you can just basically click here, make a new workspace. You can put your own monitors in it. You can put your own lists in it. You can put, maybe you're not interested in charting. Maybe instead you want to see what the social media looks like. You can do that as well. And again, it's very, very well put together. There's tons of really good apps that I can show you. I do have a minute or two extra. I don't have enough time to show you exactly how to build a workspace for this thing. But what I did want to show you is how easy it is also to build a list of fundamentally based securities. And I'm going to go ahead and jump straight to an advanced search. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the word search here. And what I'll do is I'll just go into the search functionality. So again, here interested in basically, if I wanted to go in and say, okay, out of the thousands of securities that are available, I want to see all the ones that have an earnings of 4 or 5. That's what this is where you'd go to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the company. Basically, I'm going to do a search for companies. I'll show how to do this real quick. And we're going to come in pretty much on time today, which is pretty cool. I was a little nervous, again, with the amount of stuff I wanted to show you. The advanced search I actually wasn't planning on showing you, but it will allow us to come in here and say, okay, I want stuff that's on the New York Stock Exchange. Maybe I will show it to you. It does seem like, again, with the...
Is this a good time to take a question?
Sure.
So Don90 has asked several times about whether this is real time or intraday, and I've explained via chat that it's real time so long as you play exchanges, but do you maybe want to clarify that?
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about that exchange fees a little bit more during pricing when I kind of go through pricing. But it's a really good question. The information, so the way the information is displayed is all of this data is either going to be real time or it's going to be delayed, depending on kind of what you're looking at. So for example, and whether or not you've paid exchange fees. So anytime you're looking at a foreign exchange instrument like euro, US dollar, British pound, that kind of stuff, those aren't exchange traded. So you don't have to pay an exchange fee, they're just real time. But like if you want to get real time data from the New York Stock Exchange, they have a fee that they charge you every month that goes straight to the New York Stock Exchange to get real time data. It's not much, like it's $3.50, and I believe in the case of the New York Stock Exchange, but it does vary from exchange to exchange. Like for U.S. stocks, it's $3.50 for like the 3 major markets and $9 for Oprah. It's not that much at all. For futures, it certainly is on a bit of a different price scale. Some of them charge like $120 or so to get access to that specific futures market. If you don't pay for those real-time exchange fees, if you pay for the real-time exchange fees, you'll get those, and it'll be real-time data. Otherwise, it's an exchange delay, and it depends from exchange to exchange because they set their own delays, but usually it's about 15 minutes delayed. So I'll have information for contacting one of our sales guys in just a minute so they can talk to you very specifically about what you trade and how much it will be to be real-time versus delayed. But in a nutshell, that's it. The thing about exchange fees is they're kind of like taxes. You have to pay them if you want the real-time data. If you don't pay for them, one of the things that's cool about XENITH, you can still look at the data. It's just delayed a little bit. Okay, so right here in quick filters, we can come in here and say, okay, well, these are the quick things that I want to look for. And of course, we'd come in here and add, we'd include just the United States. Okay, but then you can come in here. Oops, it just popped up. I'm going to go ahead and just do this from a country perspective. I'll just do the U.S. Before I update this, just the amount of data that flows in here, there's 9,153 things that I'm searching against right now. Okay, by looking at just stuff that's in the United States, that's going to narrow that list down to 2,720,000 things, which is obviously a lot smaller than 9.1 million, but it's still too big to look at. I'm going to go ahead and click on Done here. That'll update this view over here. And obviously what I'm going to want to do is going to want to add some more filters. the case that I was given here, look, we're looking at bonds and CDs. We can filter that based on just the equities. And the other thing I can do is we can come in here and add a filter. And if I click on this, you'll be able to look at market cap. You'll be able to look at its status, the business description. You can look at the company name. And let's just go ahead, and what we'll do is I want to look for something based on EPS. Or let's try earnings. You have to be able to spell, though. Okay. Oh, I think I'm in the wrong section as well. Let's go down a little bit. Organization type, ratings, instruments available. All right, so we'll do market cap for now. I know you can do earnings, but I'm going to look for a market cap greater than, and then you just put in the number that you want to look at. And let's put in 5 million. Go ahead and click on done. I think that's the appropriate amount of zeros, and automatically it's going to add that syntax. And then of course we could go in, we can look at growth, we can look at earnings, we can look at earnings increasing year over year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this does allow us to kind of filter out a list. We can then take that list and save it to like an Excel spreadsheet. We can actually open it up in Monitor. We can do anything we want to it at that point. And just by doing that, we narrowed our list down to 10,000. So we're starting to get, I'd still say 10,000 is not manageable, but we're getting to a more manageable state. Okay. And I apologize, I wasn't able to find earnings. I'm a little bit nervous when I'm kind of going off script, so to speak. But this is where you'd go. It's not that hard. You can figure it out. So one of the things that is also cool about this, since I did kind of mention you can take that into Excel, is the Excel integration. And we won't show this at all, but you can go in and you can pump that data into Excel. It'll automatically update. They have a very customized DDE. You can go in and put together searches and scans. You can put in quote lists and quote monitors. The DDE functionality and the formula language that they put together for Excel is phenomenal. So if that's something that's interesting to you, you can definitely get as specific as you want. So we'll talk about pricing. We have basically, I'm going to say as two different price points. And I know we've talked about, how this is a competitive to Bloomberg, or a competitive. They built it. They spent $1 billion on it. They made it competitive with Bloomberg. If you know anything about pricing of Bloomberg, I believe it's just shy of $2,000 a month. With this package, basically, we have our lowest costing package is $99 a month. So that'll give you real-time FX data, as I was explaining before. It'll also give you global delayed news analysis and reports. Okay, so that's just $99 a month. It's nothing, especially if you compare it to what you would pay to get it if you were a bank or an institution. And we can't sell it to you if you're a bank or institution. It's one of the agreements that we made with Refinitiv. We also do offer a regional package where basically the way they divide it up is it's North and South America, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, or Asia Pacific, which would include, of course, Australia. That'll give you the real-time FX data still. You'll have global delayed news, analysis, and reports, just like you get with the FX package. You'll also get global delayed data. So even if you're not part of, even if you sign up for North America and you just want to see how Singapore traded overnight or how Hang Seng performed yesterday, you'll be able to see that. It'll be on a delay. You can't get it real time, but it's included as part of that regional package. You could go and look at any stock in the world on a delay. It also allows you the ability in your region to get real-time data. So you could go in and sign up for that New York Stock Exchange and pay the $3 per month. So $99 for just the delayed FX package. The FX data in that is real-time. You do get the global delayed news and analysis. The regional package is $150 a month, and then you can get real-time in any markets that you pay the exchange fees for. Okay. The way the special that we're going to do for you, what we'll do is if you pay for a month, we'll give you 3 months. So if you pay $99 for the first month, we'll give you the second and the third month for free. If you pay $150, we will give you the second and third month for free, bringing your effective cost during the evaluation period to $50 per month. Okay. Now that doesn't include any of the exchange fees. Again, we talked a lot about exchange fees earlier, but those are not included. You do have to pay for those, and you do have to pay for those every month because the New York Stock Exchange, they'll charge you every month for that. So you pay that. You don't have to pay the New York Stock Exchange directly. You pay us, and then we pay those fees on your behalf to the New York Stock Exchange. So if you have any questions, give us a call, 800-882-3040. You can visit us online. You can sign up for this offer directly online at metastock.com/EK3for1. And if you have questions that we didn't cover here today, or you want to talk to somebody on our sales team, it's metastock.com/saleschat. Okay. And Vincenzo says, this is interesting stuff for sure. Smiley face. Yeah, I love it. Again, I did have a bit of a challenge because, like, how do I show you stuff? And after thinking about it for a minute, I just figured I'll show you the stuff I'm interested in. But one of the things I'll say about Reuters is Refinitiv and the information they power into XENITH. It's an incredible amount. This is literally similar to the information you'd get if you're a bank or an institution and subscribing for data. This is not your, here, pay us $20 a month and get a data feed. This is professional grade tools. So thanks for the comment. Anything else from YouTube, Greg?
No.
Okay. Well, in that case, I want to thank you for your time today. It's getting hot under these lights. I'm going to turn them off immediately. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything I can do to help you personally, let me know, and I'll see you at the next event. Thanks for coming today, guys.